Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about the stock market. Why? Because I'm interested in it, and maybe someone will watch this video, get into the stock market themselves, and become a billionaire. That, or they could lose all their money and ruin their life and become homeless, but I will not claim responsibility for that. But you may be asking yourself, how do you know that I know what I'm talking about? And the answer to that is because I read a book about the stock market. And I don't like reading. In fact, this very book, How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill, is the first book I read willingly without being forced to by a school system. And with my garbage attention span, that was actually hard. And that may be the last time I choose to read a book. But yeah, if you're not convinced that I'm an expert in the stock market yet, have a look at my stock market magazine collection. Also look at my stock portfolio, which I put 20K into, which is most of my life savings. Some people may say that is irresponsible, but I am 19 years old. I have the rest of my life to make that money back if I fail. And I have no wife or kids, so I'm not held back by that. So that brings me into the first thing I'm going to say about risk management. So it's true that you can lose all your money that you invest in the stock market if the company you pick goes bankrupt. And that scares off some people off the stock market entirely. For example, my dad wanted to invest 10K into Apple 10 years ago, and my mom said no. That was unwise of my mother, because Apple went up, and stocks could go up potentially infinitely. So I would say that's a good deal, and some advice I could give in terms of risk management is to not mess around with trading on leverage or options until you get used to the stock market and you understand how options work, because they are risky. And not even I trade options, because I don't understand how they work really. I'd also say don't get too attached to a stock, and if really bad news comes out about a stock or an industry, or some massive change happens, like a new CEO or something, sell that stock. Also, I don't do this, but this is especially helpful for day trading. You may want to set a stop loss. For example, if you set your stop loss at 20%, if your stock falls 20% or lower, you sell it immediately. But don't set your stop loss too little, especially if your stock is very volatile. I have money in very volatile stocks, and I've seen them go down by 40% since I bought them, and I saw them go back up. So if I sold them when they were all the way at their lows, I would have lost thousands of dollars. And also, don't make it a habit of selling everything in a net loss because you're scared of it going lower. That's how you consistently lose money. If you catch yourself doing this, you need to change something about your strategy ASAP, because there is no dream stock in the stock market that's going up 100% of the time. Dips are normal. And the stock market is sort of like a roller coaster in that way, and sometimes you just gotta sit back and try and enjoy the ride. Also, speaking of rides on the stock market, did you know that you could read stock charts and use indicators on them to guess which direction the stock is going? Because I did it, and it can be useful at times. For example, I predicted that Coinbase was gonna go up a decent amount, and I sold that too early. But you could see in the tweet here that I predicted it because I saw a double bottom pattern. And a double bottom pattern sort of looks like a W shape, and it predicts that the stock is now going to go up and the downtrend is over. We also got the inverse of this, which is the double top pattern. It sort of looks like an M. There's also a whole bunch of other stock market patterns that are shaped in flags and wedges and stuff. Here's a list of them. And yeah, chart reading is not 100% accurate, however, and it's usually useful more for shorter term trades. Though you could also use things such as volume indicators for shorter term trades. And volume is basically how many people are trading the stock. So when the volume is high, the volatility of the stock usually goes up. You could also use general market patterns, which often influence the direction of a stock. You could do this by checking the direction of groups of stocks, such as the S&P 500, which is 500 big stocks, NASDAQ, which is a group of tech stocks, along with the Dow and the NYSE. You can also make shorter term trades based off of recent news and quarterly earnings. Though trading based off of quarterly earnings is always a gamble. And that's because even if you predicted a quarterly earning is going to go well, the stock could still go down and vice versa. Anyways, now let's talk about longer term trades. So if you want, you can hold on to stocks for multiple years at a time. But unlike shorter term trades, when you try to look at long term trades to make, you should be looking at the overall future of the industry and or the company. So you can invest in things like blue chippers, which are big stocks that are very likely to go up within the next 10 years or so, or bonds, which are the type of stuff that old people invest in that you hold on for 30 years. So other than that, what else can you invest in long term? Well, I got a few ideas. So I think digital currency websites are going to go back up again, such as PayPal and Cash App. I think Cash App, which is listed on Block, has a lot of potential within the next 10 years. I also say carpooling and food delivery services, such as DoorDash, Uber, and Lyft, are all going to go up. Why? Because millennials and Zoomers are lazy as hell. I also predicted that last year, and my dad told me it's not going to go up or it's going to go down because he assumed that food delivery services were just a pandemic craze. Well, I guess he gets wrong because they all went up more than 100%. I also think American wheat stock companies are going to go up. I'm invested in MSOS, and while making this video, the DEA is now set to reschedule. So hell yeah, I'm hyped. And I also think most of the well-off Bitcoin miners are going to go up at the end of the year. And AI is an obvious one. It's going to be the next .com era. I got my money in SoundHound AI because voice AI seems the most practical. And NVDA, a very successful semiconductor company, has put their money in SoundHound AI. And for my final two industry picks, I'd have to pick car-related companies and space innovation. For car-related companies, I'd recommend online car dealerships. Some examples of car dealerships are CarMax and Carvana. Carvana recently had a massive rally after people thinking it was going to go bankrupt. And I also recommend car companies that have strong innovation, such as Tesla. Who knows, we might really have flying cars one day. And for my final industry recommendation, which is space exploration, that one is pretty much a risky one, but I think it could pay off. I mean, us humans are curious. We're definitely going to explore space more. It's just hard to predict which companies are going to be the most successful at it. Also, did I mention semiconductors, which are basically fancy chips? Yeah, that too. So yeah, final note. The last few tips I could give you on picking a good long-term stock is to don't assume that just because an industry is good means that a specific company will do well. A lot of companies will fall, even in good industries. B, look for stocks that have a reputation of performing well even on bad stock market days. And C, look for the inside investors. Investors are very talented and smart. Anyways, I'm peacing out. Hope you guys get mega rich.